Can you hear me? Okay, great. Welcome, everybody, to this Human-Centred Design Workshop. So I just want to be clear at the outset that this is not a panel discussion about the future of journalism. It's an interactive workshop. So if that's not for you, then, time to leave. But this is what we're going to be running through is a human-centred design project or design challenge, because design thinking or human-centred design is much more than a process. It's actually a mindset, and part of that mindset is about things like radical collaboration, working with people that you're not used to working with. It's a bias to action, so actually getting out and doing things. It's about show, don't tell. So everyone's here who wants to be here. That's really good. So just to introduce myself, I'm Jackie Park. I'm a research fellow now at the University of Technology, Sydney, in the Centre for Media Transition, and I'm also the head of strategy and research for Splice Media, which is a startup working on media transformation in the Asia-Pacific region. And a lot of my work now is working with media startups and newsrooms on the kind of challenges that they're facing in this time of media transition.
Okay, so very passionate design thinker, and why is that so? I spent a year at Stanford doing a lot of design thinking experiments and courses, and I realized that it's one of the most powerful tools that we can use in any organization to really come up with solutions that cater to your users' needs. Because from when we are very small, we are taught that when there's a problem, what we need to do is try to fix it as fast as possible. And most of the times, to be honest, we fix them with the wrong solution because we haven't really understood the underlying problem. And so what design thinking is, it is a tool to really refrain you from jumping to these solutions and really take your time to understand your users' needs first. And once you crack that, then you can start designing a solution. And this is what we are going to do now. We are passing these sheets, and there are some already there, so please everyone grab some, and you will need a pen to participate in this. We are going to go through this very quick, so it might feel rushed from time to time, but don't worry, that's one thing about design thinking. And before we start, I would like you to pair in twos and then try and tell the other person in 1 minute the story of your name. So how come that you are named the name you have, okay? So everyone just has 1 minute. We are going to be very strict on time, and then you take turns, and the other one is telling you the story behind their names, all right? So let's go.
So you need to find a partner now. Find a partner to work with. If you have to, get up and move around. Who's looking for a partner? Yeah? Okay. Anyone else need a partner? 2, 4, 6, 8, 2, maybe.
Does everyone have a partner by now? Okay, so we are going to start, and it's 1 minute, and just tell the other person the story of your name. There's definitely one story, so just tell it to each other. Time starts now. No, these are packages, and you need 5 of them, like 5 sheets.
Because we have just...
Okay, the first one?
Yeah. No, we missed this one.
Okay. Okay, that was quick. 5 pages. No. All right, time's up now, so please change your roles. Now the other person tells the partner the story behind their name.
So shall I pick it up straight from this? Yeah.
And we are asking one person who wants to share.
Not from here. No, we don't have time. Just straight into. Okay, I think it's enough. Everyone's done.
Okay, you can say it's done and let's go.
Yeah. Okay, let's come back. All right, so now, so we know a little bit about each other. Now we can kind of get started into the design exercise. So everybody has these pages, and I'll explain as we go how you use those. So, but for a start, where it says at the top it's the gift exercise, it's not. All right, we're just using these. These are some of the worksheets from the design school at Stanford. So we're going to design a morning news service. That's going to be the design exercise this morning. And the challenge that you all have is to work with a partner and to design for that partner something that is really useful and meaningful for them. Okay, that's the first part of our challenge. We're going to design a morning news service that is useful and meaningful. Now, how do you know what might be useful and meaningful for them? Empathy is the key to that, to get started at least. And one of the best ways, so empathy, walking in their shoes, understanding deeply what their needs are. And one of the ways to do that, and there are different ways, but one way is to have a conversation. Okay? So we're going to start the exercise. You're going to have 3 minutes to interview. So I'll call you partner A and partner B. Partner A has 3 minutes to interview partner B, and then I'll tell you when to switch. So there will be prompts at each point. Now, you might start by asking them things like, what does their morning look like? What do they do? Like, what kind of information do they need to get their day started? You want to get to an understanding of what would be useful information, what would they value, and maybe even deeper than that, what do you think might delight them? Okay, so think of it, ask why a lot, think of it as though you're peeling an onion, you're trying to get deeper to an understanding of what their needs are. Now, this is going to be very rushed, as Astrid said, but that's fine. I mean, that's just part of the fun of it all. Okay, so for 3 minutes, and you have the sheet. The first square on the sheet is where you'll take your notes from the interview. Okay, so you have 3 minutes to interview your partner, and I'll let you know when to switch. Okay, start now.
do it.
I'll do it. Hello? Okay. Okay, so it's time to now switch. Okay, so now you switch. Partner B interviews partner A, and I realise that we may not have enough sheets for you, but it's absolutely fine. Just use pen and paper. Okay. Okay, time's up. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to design the solution for your partner. Okay, so we have 3 minutes for this part of the exercise. So look at your notes. What did you learn about your partner? And then take those insights and design something for them. Design a new service that you think would meet their needs. And then you've got, this is going to be very quick, so we've got 3 minutes to do this. And then once you've both designed it, just sketch it, don't write, it's show and tell, because you want to be able to show them something and get feedback. So sketch it quickly and then show your partner. And when you show your partner, you're going to be getting feedback. So it's another opportunity to understand more about them. So don't get invested in your solution. Okay, 3 minutes. Okay, so what if you are designing a new service, just draw it. What does it look like? Does it have dials, or is it sort of something that is people meeting, or is it whatever it is? So, and Oh, yeah.
It's the part next to your interview.
Oh, actually, it's not. It's no. Just draw it on the back of the sheet. Actually, yeah. Use the blank on the back to do your designs. Okay.
And don't worry about time if you really feel under pressure and rushed. Actually, that's a tool in design thinking to really spur your creativity. Sometimes if we work under restraints like too little money, too little time, we are even more creative than if we just feel comfortable and do things the way we always have done them. So it's going to be great.
Okay, go. From now, 3 minutes. And as soon as you've drawn it, start to share it with your partner and get some feedback from them. Okay. Okay, who would like to share? Whose partner designed something really special? If your partner designed something really special, you would like to share? Okay, yeah. So we just want to hear from a couple of people about what your partner designed for you to share with the whole group. So who'd like to go? Yes.
My partner designed, because I take Uber.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, thanks. I take Uber every day to go to my work. It's a 40-minute ride. And I hate to talking with the driver in Brazil. And Brazilian in Brazil, they talk so much. And it's time that I would love to be, concentrating, reading the morning newspapers and everything. So he designed me, and he can explain that. Like a phone, how can I say that? It's like a headphone that it's something very obvious for the driver, saying that don't talk to her because she has something, in her head. And I can download news and the day before. So I will spend all my ride listening to the news, and I don't need to talk to anyone.
Noise blocking news, that's it.
Yeah. Okay, anyone else want to share? Oh, what? Oh, great.
Hi. There's not much to show because this is a conversational interface, but this interface kicks in on Sunday mornings where Alistair does not go to work, and it'll wake him up and slowly, and it'll play some music, and it'll say, "Good morning, Alistair," and it'll say, "Guess what? It's Sunday, and nothing important happened while you slept, so you can just go running." And it'll say, "Are you ready to go running?" And he'll say, "Yes." Okay, so your shoes are in the closet and the shirt is on the stairs where you left it. And I've brewed coffee, fresh coffee for you in the kitchen. And he'll say, "Thanks, and I want to listen to music." And it'll say, "Have a good jog."
All right, so I'm really impressed, I must say, because you all already jumped off this scene that we set for you for a morning news service. So we had the headphones, and what you designed is really cool. So we really opened up the space, the problem space, and you didn't stay in this very narrow thing, design a morning news service. Because if you tell yourself a question like that, you already put the answer in it, and that's the wrong way to do it. And you all did a fantastic job about that. So in our next round, we will listen to more music, but before we do that, we would like to do another round where you really try to, again, dig a little bit deeper in what you heard in your first interviews. Was there anything that really surprised you, anything that made you laugh, anything that was really completely out of space, something that you wouldn't have thought of? And now try to really dig deeper into this thing what surprised you, and we will do another round of interviews, and this time really try to focus on this surprising thing and ask as many questions as you can with why. And why is it that you ask questions why? Why really takes you in the middle of the problem, and there are even scientific work showing you that if you ask someone enough times why, they will start crying. And of course we don't want to cry here, we want to laugh, but really take a little look at your first notes. What is the most surprising thing there? And then try to ask your partner again for 3 minutes, and there should be space on the next paper that we handed out to you. And ask around this topic, because as I said in the beginning, the more you open up the space of problems, the more you also open up the space of solutions, and that's what we are going to do now. And then later on, we are going to narrow it again so that you come up with something very specific. So don't think that this is totally crazy. Just try to dig deeper into this surprising insight, and each will have 3 minutes, right? Yes. Yeah. Okay, so we are going to start now. in the next round, explaining the point of view, and then you are going to explain the sheet.
Yeah, so I was going to just finish this up. That's okay, that's fine. So give them their 3 minutes each. And then and then take them, explain then where you said you narrow it down again. What does that actually mean? I guess in terms of that. And then we like to use got point of view. And then it's important then that you stop there. And then I'll pick it up and say, all right, on the sheet now, unless you want to go through that, say like, fill out the sheet. But yeah, and then I was just going to do that thing about you fill out the sheet, like you challenge, make it juicy, and then put them into like the designing again. Okay, so you take what's really here, the point of view. Yeah? Yeah, here, you've started this.
They're doing the interviews.
They're doing the interviews. What are their goals and wishes? What are they trying to achieve? This is Insight Zone. This is what they're doing now. The only thing that you didn't say is forget the morning news service. Oh, you did say that? Okay, fine.
They already didn't stick to the news service. They're over. So,
Yeah.
actually, what happens next now is
Okay, so just let me run it through and then bring them back. You explain the point of view.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So they have another just 1 minute 20, and then they switch again.
they switch.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, now time to switch partners. Right? Switch partners. And remember, forget about the news service. You're now looking for their fundamental needs, designing for their needs. Okay. Switch partners.
All right, so the time is up again, unfortunately, and we are going to narrow it down again. What we just did, we opened up the space, the problem space and the space for solutions, and now we are going to try to narrow it down again to the real users' needs. And what we are basically doing is to reframe the problem and just to make it a little bit more clearer, using an example. For just imagine a little kid wanting to read a book that's on a shelf that she or he cannot reach out to. So I think the most obvious solution would be to either give them a chair or a ladder, or give them an iPad so that they can read it. But maybe their need is really just to get a hug from the father, so the father hugs them and helps them to reach out to the book. So this is when we narrow it down. And how to do this in design thinking, we like to use a technique that is called point of view, where you really try to find out what is the most interesting insight again. And it sounds complicated, but in fact it's pretty easy. What I want you to do is just to write down on this sheet the things that really you are trying to do, and really try to use verbs. Don't say, I want to make it awesome or something. Really try to use verbs, because that makes it juicy and actionable. So try really to use as many verbs as you can. And also, what are the insights, the new learnings about your partner's feelings and the worldview to leverage in your design. And once you have done this, just write it quickly down on this side of the paper. We will explain to you how to fill out this point of view. All right? So there's a minute for that. Thank you. Yeah, so for the person you just interviewed, yeah. It's part of your solution finding process. You don't have enough?
Does everyone get it? So this is really the work of the designer now, okay? So what happens in this process is you go wide, and then you have to bring it back. So we have been through the process of going very wide, collecting a whole lot of data and information that we did through the interviews. Now we're bringing it back because we need to make sense of it. We need to figure out, what is it that we heard? How do we actually really define this challenge? And that's what this sheet helps you do. Okay, so who?
It's the one that says reframe the problem. Yeah.
Yeah, define the problem. This one, where you reframe that, you're at number 4 on that sheet. And what you're doing is you're defining now the challenge, okay, that you're going to design off. And so you want to make it, as kind of juicy and as actionable as possible.
And don't overthink it.
Okay, so you've done that? Okay, so using that now as your kind of launch for the design. Okay, you're now going to go on to the next sheet. So it's this one.
No, it's the same sheet. It's the same.
Yeah, it's number 5.
It's number 4. It's number 4. It's on the same sheet, but it's number 4. It's the point of view. No. Your partner needs a way.
Yeah, but that's some people have done that. I don't know why he hasn't done that. What do you think he's going to do? Capture the needs and the insights. Okay,
So,
go on.
So basically what you are doing, you are designing something for your partner, right? So you are putting their name. Can I just grab this for a second? You can put in their name, or you should put in their name and a little description. So what do they do? Where are they? What is their problem? And then you describe he or she needs a way to really overcome their user's need, whatever it is that you just identified in your last interview. And surprisingly, what was the most surprising thing that you heard? And you put this surprising thing down there. And from then on, you will create new ideas. So try to make it as personal as possible. It's not for a user, like your whole community is really just for the person that you were talking to. All right. Okay.
Okay, 1 minute.
Okay. Yes. Point of view thing is always the most tricky one.
I think some of them had it, because I got confused as well. I said wrong number 4 before, so they're all right. We'll get to sketching, everyone will be happy. So once you have completed defining the problem statement, you're going to use that to design your solution. Okay, and this time, what we're going to ask you to do is to come up with at least 3 ideas. Okay, 3 possible ideas that might...
This is this sheet if you have it, so you can put down your ideas here.
Yeah, so in this sheet, there are 5 squares for you to draw, sketch your solutions or your designs, okay? And the idea is, so we want you now to try and come up with a lot of ideas. So at least 3, you have space for 5, and sketch them out very quickly. And then you're going to show them to your partner again. Now, the most important thing at this point is they're only ideas. So don't get invested in them, because they're only ideas, and the only real value that they have at this stage in sketching them is to be able to show your partner and get feedback. Okay? So do your sketches for your designs. Okay, so 1 more minute for your sketching. Okay, and once you're done, can you share and get the feedback? Show your partner what you've designed, and get the feedback. And again, remember, when you get the feedback, it's another opportunity for empathy. Okay, you have a couple of minutes to do that, and then we'll come back and share.
So you've got 1 more minute before we switch. Just 1 more minute to go.
So if you haven't already switched partners sharing, do it now, because we'll be finishing in a minute.
Okay, so time is up, and we have to be careful of the time because there are people coming in from for the next workshop. So who thinks that his or her partner really cracked it and designed the most meaningful thing that they really need and wants to share with us? You? Okay. No? Anyone? No. Okay, so if there's no one who wants to share, then let me ask you just very quickly, what have we done? I mean, we spent almost 1 hour together, so what did we basically do? Yeah, please.
On the back of the first interview, so Vasiliki was saying that part of her routine in the morning was to have a coffee with her mother. And I had then sort of just concluded that that was like, oh, well, if she makes the time to have coffee with her mother, they must be close. And that was an assumption that I had made. So I had written that down in this sort of statement. But then on sort of digging deeper, when I had said this to her, she said, no, we have our ups and downs, like I guess any mother and daughter, but we have coffee every day. And so I had learnt, and which I know myself as a professional, like in journalism, that you can't make assumptions. That's like a really bad thing to do, and that's often what we do when we're providing a service, is that we just assume instead of actually digging down and countering our own assumptions about sort of service users or something. So yeah.
It's actually one of the really important things that people talk a lot in human-centered design, is to be very careful about heuristics. Is that the word? Being really sort of anchored in your assumptions. And one of the things is, it's a very kind of, you bring a humility to that sort of first part of the empathy exercise, because you start by saying, I don't know and I'm here to learn. I can't see beyond the horizon, so...
And it's also a very powerful technique to really make you great leaps forward. If you don't do this, you mostly do incremental innovation. So you have your assumptions, you have a product, and then you do incremental progress. But if you really open up the problem space, you can come up with really crazy ideas that catapult you really into the next, on the next stage of innovation. And this is why design thinking really helps. And it might have felt very rushed and very non-organized, but in fact it's a really organized process. At the beginning we did the empathy interviews to really understand users' needs. Then we defined the real problem, the actual problem. Then we went into this ideate phase where you came up with solutions. Basically you then do a real brainstorming session for 20 minutes with your whole team, and you can come up with up to 100 solutions. And after that, you pick the one that you think is the most viable one, and you create a very low prototype, low resolution prototype. And then you test this prototype with real people, and this can give you, again, insights if you are on the right path. Let's see, you have designed something, you try and test it out with people, and they're telling you and giving you feedback, and there might be new insights that make you pivot to something new, and to do the cycle all over again until you really find a really great solution, and then you can start building a real prototype and include the development department and the engineers and so on. And it helps you not to create something where you're very invested, where you spend $300,000, and once you have your product out there, nobody needs it, and then everyone is like really frustrated and thinks that innovation sucks and it doesn't belong to newsrooms. So that's the whole point of it. All right, I think we need to leave the room very quickly. If you still have questions, you can ask us. We are still here. And yeah, thank you very much for participating, and I hope you had fun.